Hey guys, I'm Phil Town from Rule One Investing, and today I'm going to tell you the best way to invest $5,000 during a recession. Okay, so you've got $5,000 saved up. We're kind of in the middle of a recession. You're ready to invest, but so what should you do? Is it a scary time to put money in the market? Is it a good time? What's the best thing to do right now? Well, before you start investing, the first thing you should make sure is that you've got a little bit of a rainy day fund. That's super important so you don't get squeezed and have to go, sell something at a really inopportune time. Some people would say you probably should have 3 to 6 months of expenses, but really it should just make the amount whatever's appropriate for your lifestyle. And always remember too, that if you're putting money into the stock market, it's like you can get it back out in a day. I mean, less than a day. So it's a little bit like having it in the bank. The only reason that we're considering it a little bit less liquid than just money in cash is because maybe you'd have to sell something you don't want to sell, right? Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe you've made money on it, but it's still going to make more. So you don't want to sell it. So next thing is you should ask yourself, are you in a really stable career? Are your finances going to be impacted by this recession? Man, with COVID out there right now, it's hard to know, right? So those are a few things you got to think about when you're figuring out how much you're going to have available to invest. Now you want to squeeze as much as you can and get the maximum that you can available to invest during a recession. It is the most important time, and one of the most weird things about it, or ironic things about it, is when it's the absolute best time to invest is when, of course, you don't have any money, right? So we've got to try to make ourselves set up with a bit of an emergency fund and then $5,000 ready to go, because man, you get it right during a recession and you could really compound that $5,000 for the next decade. All right, so here's 3 really good options for you to consider that I really like. The first one is, I want you to take that $5,000 and open up an IRA that's not just an IRA, it's a Roth IRA. Now, the reason we want you to do a Roth IRA is because I'm going to presume that you've already paid taxes on the $5,000. So guess what? You put that money into a Roth, you get to compound all of your returns all free of tax. It's awesome. You can also pull your $5,000 out anytime you want. So this can double as an emergency fund using the liquidity of stocks to be able to get your hands on the money and not have a tax issue. This is a real deal, really, honestly. Some days are probably stop providing it. It's too good. So take advantage of it now. And really the big kicker, I'm not sure I really said it clearly, is you don't pay taxes on the gains ever. So if you took that $5,000 in the next 20 years, turned it into $1 million, that money, when you retired, comes out tax-free. That's just flippin' awesome. All right, second thing is that you could do, if you're not an experienced investor, is you could put your money in an index fund. And this is, of course, what Warren Buffett recommends. And I'm certainly not going to go against Warren, but he's going to recommend this for you if you're not an experienced or not a knowledgeable investor. So an index fund is going to be, I would recommend the S&P 500, which is an index, and then the fund that you can invest in that matches the S&P 500 index is the fund called SPX. SPX. It's the S&P 500 index fund, and it basically tracks this index of 500 of the best stocks in the country, which often people look at as a way of thinking about the stock market. How's the market doing? They're often talking about the S&P 500. You could also do the Russell 2000, which is smaller cap stocks moving around much more. And in the long run, you'll probably make more money in the Russell. So I would consider doing that, particularly if you're comfortable being in an index fund when the market's going down. And the Russell's going to go down farther and faster than the S&P 500. What you should avoid doing here in both the Roth IRA or in just investing in funds is to avoid almost all mutual funds. There are a handful of mutual funds that are run by people who know what they're doing. who don't over diversify, who actually might make you some good money on them. But they're few and far between. It's better you just put your money in an index, because all these mutual funds are going to just try to do the index anyway. That's basically what they do. I often call them a shadow fund. They're just shadowing the index. And they're charging you for it, anywhere from 0.5% to 1%, something like that. So basically, you're going to get the same stocks as you're going to get in most mutual funds, and you're going to end up with the basic return you're going to get in most mutual funds, but you save money by not paying their fees. So option number 3 is buy some individual companies. And this is, of course, what we do. And this is what we want you guys to do, but you're going to need to have a little experience and have a little knowledge. And we want you to buy individual companies because, unlike with index funds and mutual funds, when you start focusing on buying individual companies, you're going to focus on getting to cash at the right time. And that means now. So you got $5,000 in cash. If you're going to do index funds, you're probably just going to invest in them right now. I mean, what can you do? You're not trying to buy individual companies. So most advisors would say, go ahead and buy the index. Well, I think you're buying the index at one of the craziest times to buy the index you could ever imagine, and yet it still could go up. So what we do is something entirely different. When you're buying individual stocks, you're buying companies that are on sale. So you're going to be looking, unlike an index fund, you're going to be looking for businesses that you understand which are actually on sale right now, and you're getting them at a big margin of safety price. And that is going to come about because of a recession. That's what recessions do, is they cause companies to stop growing as quickly or to slow down their rate of growth enough to where the big investors start to take their money out. And when that happens, they go on sale. And when they go on sale, then the little guys like you and me, we've got our $5,000, we can step in there. Now, before you invest all the $5,000, I want you to want to consider this for one of the best investors you could ever make, which would be investing in yourself. And that is the importance of continuous learning. Now, this could be learning to improve your job potential, right? So getting training that will allow you to keep moving as automation starts coming in, maybe coming after your white collar job with automation. So importance of continuous learning that continues to make you valuable to somebody where they'd be happy to pay you to come in and help make them some money. Warren Buffett is obviously one of the greatest investors in the world. And the reason he's one of the greatest investors in the world is that he's very diligent about understanding the business that he's thinking about buying. He knows everything there is to know about these companies he's investing in. I mean, not everything. He couldn't run these companies per se, necessarily. But I mean, he doesn't know how to make a chip, right? He doesn't know how Apple makes its iPhones. But he still knows enough to understand why buying an Apple computer would be a good idea. So what I want you to do is to spend time and effort and even some money maybe improving your knowledge. That is absolutely one of the best investments you can make, so that it's like you're improving your knowledge about investing, you can make the right decision when the time comes. And that's what's going to be the difference between you living a really comfortable life down the road and struggling with everybody else. So if you're interested in more about investing, okay, then fair enough, I'll plug us here a little bit. I'd love it if you want to attend my live investing workshop. It's called Transformational Investing. We do it online, virtually. It's live and it's great. And I teach it myself along with my top faculty. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What are you guys going to do with that $5,000? So leave a comment below here with your answer and I'll be sure to follow up with you. If you enjoyed this video and you think it was valuable for teaching you more about investing, subscribe to my channel, share the video with your friends or anybody else that might benefit from this information that you think. And thanks for watching, you guys. Now go play.